Hello to Instagram, hello YouTube, and hello Facebook. So I think there's a really important subject that I would like to discuss with you today. And it's the subject of what to do when you don't feel worthy. Now, I know, sadly, there are plenty of times where you, as an individual, regardless of your situation and your status, probably will feel unworthy. And this is something that I have experienced in all different stages of my life. It's funny though, because when I think back to my teenage years, I was just so driven and focused on what I wanted to achieve in terms of the goal of getting to university. I can't actually think of a time of when I didn't feel worthy. But then perhaps there was a different language that I was using at that time, because I know that a lot of young people today suffer from anxiety, don't feel that they're good enough, kind of literally crippled by this fear of just not feeling like they can even love themselves. And I think that that is quite worrying. And or the reason why I want to speak about this subject today is because I firmly believe that the behavior that adults show actually then gets picked up by the next generation. So if as a parent or if as an adult around young people, you are somehow showing, you know, lack of self-worth or feelings of anxiety, then chances are that's also being picked up by those who are around you. And there are things that we can do about this. So I want to encourage you to really kind of become self-aware and understand what is going on for you. If you are in a situation where you don't feel worthy, then I have some kind of ideas and some steps that hopefully is going to put you into a place where you feel more more that you are enough, more that you're actually capable of doing what it is that you want to do. And I think one of the challenges that we face is that, you know, on social media these days, gosh, it's very easy to form a view of ourselves where we actually don't like ourselves. Hate is a very, very strong word, but people do start to hate themselves because they see other people living such wonderful lives. And there is that joke, but sadly it is realistic. It's that joke of where people kind of take the picture, you know, I don't know, 50 times, maybe even more than that, in order to get that perfect image to put up on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and all of these other things. But actually it's taken 50 shots to get that one. And that then demonstrates how what we see on the outside isn't necessarily the truth of what is happening inside. There is also something else which I think is very important to consider about worthiness and the reality of the situation. In that, I always say to people, you know, you can not judge a book by its cover, right? So you may see somebody else living a life that appears to be ideal and easy and full of joy, and you know, you wish that you were in their shoes. But actually the reality of that person's life could be that they are suffering in these moments of extreme trauma, of real challenge in their lives, and you know, that they're really struggling in their day to day. And I tell you this because I think it's incredibly important. We've seen so many people in the media, in the limelight, who've kind of got to a stage where they felt so unworthy that they've killed themselves. And it's a very challenging situation where somebody may push themselves to that. Now, I do want to say, look, I know I'm talking about a sensitive issue here. And I don't want to kind of get too deep in that, but what I would say is, look, if you need any help, if you need any support, because you are at that point where you are not feeling worthy at all and you are contemplating taking particular actions, please reach out for help. Seek help either from your friends or your family, or any organization that is near to you that can actually give you the support that you need. Because I usually say this at the end of the videos, but I'm going to say this right now. I believe in you, and I believe in your ability to be absolutely amazing, to be able to do the things that you want to do and to achieve your dreams. I believe in you and your ability. And I know that when you start to believe in that as well, that's when the world changes. That's when so many amazing things will happen in your life. So let's come back to the things that you can do for if you are in a situation where you are not feeling worthy. The first thing that I would encourage you to do is to stop comparing yourself to other people. I do appreciate that is, it might be easier said than done, right? But I want to encourage you to really reflect on the fact that whatever it is that you see in somebody else's life, it may not be their reality. And I would love it if you look at other people's situations through a lens of compassion and understanding, and actually experience joy for them. So if they have something that you don't have, that you wish you had, rather than kind of experience envy, or actually be in a situation where you start to dislike your circumstances, I would say, express joy and happiness for whatever the other person has that you desire for yourself. And also, ask ask the creator, ask Allah, ask God for some advice and for some kind of support so that you can have the same thing. But don't do it from a place of envy. So I would say, don't compare yourself to other people, because here's the thing: somebody else may have that nice car, that big home, loads of kids, all of these other things that you would desire, the flash holidays and things, but inside they're suffering. So you cannot really see what's actually going on for the other people. You've got to always look at your own situation and not compare yourself to others. Okay. The second thing that I'm going to encourage you to do is to realize that your mind can actually play games with you. And when your mind starts to play games with you, it does something really irritating, because it will put you in a situation where you will start to think, oh, everything else is hunky-dory. It's just, life is so easy. But actually, when you're listening to that noise that is inside your head, and it's just the constant chatter, 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 it will actually put negative thoughts in there. And most of the time, those thoughts are unhealthy, and they actually can be quite destructive. So don't listen to what your mind is telling you when it's saying to you that you are not worthy, because I'm telling you, you are 100%, you are. Okay. Number 3, realize that you've got a lot of good stuff going on in your life, right? And we all have heard of things such as the gratitude interventions, where you think of 3 good things before you go to sleep, or there's kind of interventions that you can do in the morning where you focus on the positive and really start to acknowledge the things that you've done and that you've achieved. So understand that wherever you are in your life, you are in the right place. I mean, I've been saying in these live videos that I'm doing quite regularly now that this is something that I should have started 10 years ago, but I didn't. right? I started it a few weeks ago. And so the thing is, if I focus on all of that kind of, oh my God, why didn't I do it 10 years ago? I'll just get lost inside the noise that's in my head. And I'll do all of these. I'll do 1, 2, and 3. I'll compare myself to other people. I'll tell myself, that I'm not good enough. And I'll just focus on the fact that I should have done it a long time ago and I didn't start. Right? So the point is that you focus on the things that are right rather than the things that are not right. Okay. Number 4. Okay. I want to encourage you to focus on your progress, right? Nothing really needs to be perfect. In fact, I believe that perfection on this planet doesn't exist. Perfection is a kind of concept that comes from God, really. God is the only thing that is perfect. Now, whether you believe in God or not, that's kind of like a different conversation. But actually, you will know that it is very, very challenging for you to achieve anything with perfection. And perhaps that is part of the reason why we face struggle, and often people start to feel a lack of worth, right? And here's the interesting thing. I mean, look, I had to work hard at school. I am not the smartest person in the world, but I got 2 masters with distinction. Do I celebrate that fact? No. What do I do? I, like most people, because we can all be a hot mess sometimes, right? I focus on those areas where I made the mistakes, despite the fact that I got a distinction. I can tell you the pages and the mistakes that I made from an assignment or from my dissertation that I completed 16 years ago. I mean, isn't that insane? Right? Yet, when I'm being really, really focused on realizing my worth, then I focus on the fact that I actually did that. I've got a distinction in a master's. So you can apply that to any situation that you're in, right? And you can think, well, where is it that I'm just focusing on all of the bad things within that particular scenario, right? And for me, this is one of the biggest situations where we give our self-worth away, and we feel as if we are not worthy because we end up focusing in on this kind of desire for perfection. And I know so many people get caught up in that loop of perfectionism, right? Well, perfectionism and success is a real challenge because I think that a lot of people actually end up sacrificing their successes in that journey for perfection. You should always celebrate when you've done something really well. It doesn't matter what it is, right? If you make that cup of tea really well, celebrate. If you have a great cup of coffee, celebrate. If you finish that project, celebrate. If you hand in an assignment, if you get a new job, gosh, some days it's going to be if you get out of bed, right? But if something is hard for you and you've achieved it, then celebrate. And that's how you start to focus on what you're doing right and how far you've come, rather than actually getting caught up with this negativity that just comes from, well, I didn't do it to the best of my ability. I tell you what, the best of your ability is you showing up and you doing it. So stop beating yourself up for making mistakes, for not doing it perfectly. Whatever progress you're making, it's the right amount of progress. Okay. I think that was number 5. Was that? Just let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I've got 2 more. Number 6. Don't hate the way that you care for yourself. Right? Constantly telling yourself that you are not able to live up to your potential is actually going to just keep eating away at your worthiness. And here's the thing, right? When you put yourself in a situation and feel unworthy, then people around you are going to start to vibe off that too, right? And if you're unable to show to others that you at least feel some level of self-love, then you put yourself in a situation where it's literally gonna just keep eating away, and slowly you'll get to the point where, you know, it could be quite challenging for you, or even more challenging. So here's the thing. I want you to start telling yourself that you are able to live up to your potential, to those crazy dreams that you've got. You can actually turn them into a reality. But the question is it's how much you want them, right? And if you want them enough, then you will work for them. And you then move yourself from a place where you're kind of focusing in on the lack of potential to seeing the potential. Because here's the thing, 1% of potential is enough, right? If you see that kind of like spark somewhere, or that amazing thing that could happen, you know, it's just incredible, because that is enough. You don't need the other 99%. You just need that tiny little bit to move you forward. And when you move forward, then the other bit's going to come. I'm telling you, it's incredible when you make a decision to decide to do something, and you put in a tiny little bit of work. It's as if the kind of the world is coming together to support you, to cheer you on, to make it happen. The thing is, you've got to begin. If you don't begin, if you don't start with anything, you know you stay stuck, don't you? So you are the one that needs to take that first step, right? But when you take the first step, I guarantee you, and you take the first step, and you take the next one, and you take the next one, honestly, it will feel as if the world is got your back. It is just absolutely amazing how much you can progress and how much you can actually move forward when you take that atom of potential that you have, and you start saying, okay, I'm going to do something with this. And from that also comes an incredible sense of self-worth, right? So this is why it's so significant and important for you. If you are feeling vulnerable, or if you're feeling as if, you know, you're just not good enough, start to do these things. If you're just coming in and you're just watching from the middle, then as soon as the replay is up, and you know it'll be up as soon as we finish pretty much, then just watch the video again from the beginning, watch the live from the beginning. If you've got any questions, you know, just pop them in. I come back in and I check the comments. You know, I'm doing this personally because I think it's such an important thing that we're speaking about. It's a hugely important topic. Okay. And then lastly, I'm going to ask you to really recognize that, you know, you're able to accept love and care. Now, here's the thing. That love may not come from your spouse, because maybe you're not married. It may not come from family, because we live in very difficult, complex times sometimes. But when you don't love yourself, how can you then open up the door for anybody else to love you, right? And I'm not saying that you need to feel love from a spouse or your family or others in order for you to feel worthy, because self-worth is internal. But when you do get that love from other people, and love and understanding and care, actually it increases your feeling of satisfaction with life, right? And so you then move from a state where you might be feeling shame or anger or anxiety or mood swings, and you start to feel as if you have some self-worth. And that is the beginning of you moving forward. So I've shared with you some kind of concepts and some ideas for things that you can do if you don't feel worthy. And I would love it if you share with me your comments or your feedback or any thoughts. And look, if I've missed anything, just pop a comment. You know, at the end of the day, these videos and these trainings are actually resources not just for us, but they're resources for your friends and for your family and for people in similar situations and circumstances, for people that don't know you or me, right? And if they can get some level of help from this, then I would really, really appreciate it if you can, share it with them. It really, I think everyone needs to be in a place where they feel worthy and that they care for themselves. And I know that you would agree with that. Okay. Let's start with comments on Instagram. Quite a few people here. So hello and salams to everybody that has joined. Me Connection says, how do you handle the negativity that might surround you from other people rather than your own insecurities, which you're trying to improve? And okay, you said that I've answered the question now. I think the thing is that if you do feel insecure, or if you do feel kind of worried, and here, look, people around you are not always going to be the most positive people that you need, right? So there's going to be a constant chatter, and it feels like this, and it gets inside your ear, and it just doesn't move, right? But build up your resilience, build up your tolerance, so that when that noise does happen, you have, steel armor, so you can resist it. A bit like Iron Man, right? When those kind of weapons or whatever's attacking him, he can actually shield it off completely. That's what you do. And a lot of that is inside your head. And when you develop the mindset, actually, you can kind of buffer other people's little nitpicky comments and things like this. So I hope that helps. Over on Facebook, let's have a look. Shabana is saying, having a reason for something is not enough. You've got to want it really badly, and that reason will keep you going even in the most difficult situations when you're going to be in no doubt. Yeah, absolutely. It is 100% accurate. I mean, you've got to love yourself, and Sarah saying, I've learned to build a circle of confidence. Absolutely. When you surround yourself with people who help you to build confidence, to believe in yourself, then nothing's going to get in your way, because all of a sudden you've gone from just being you to being a team, right? And I love the saying, right? Team, together everyone achieves more, right? So surround yourself with the right people. And when you do that, the world is your oyster. So just before I go, I want to invite you all to the Make It Happen challenge. We're starting tomorrow, and every day there's going to be a live video, and I'm going to be in the chat box in there as well, basically answering everybody's questions and kind of coming in and giving some coaching and doing some support if necessary, where you then basically have 7 days of training from me and resources, where we're going to beat procrastination, and we're going to set you up so that you don't just dream about having the best year ever, but you actually work out what your crazy big dreams are. We create them take them and turn them into kind of like a plan for you. And then I'll show you some high level project management techniques that you can use to turn that plan into a reality. I mean, I've created this partly because I found for myself in the past that when you do kind of like a planning exercise in terms of what you want to achieve in the year, it becomes very kind of vision focused or dream focused, but there's nothing really that then takes that and turns it into real targeted program that you can then deliver day by day, week by week, month by month, and year by year. And so I want to give you some tools and resources that's going to help you to do that. I'll share the link in the comments and also in the video link as well, and I'll hopefully see you there. So to everybody that has watched live, thank you so much, guys, for showing up. I really appreciate it. I'm so fueled by this. When you're here and you're making comments and asking questions, it just makes it so much more of a more powerful experience for me. So thank you all so much. And if you're watching the replay, do just leave a comment to say that you've watched the replay. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, and I will see you again tomorrow.